I hate crime. My name is Larry Kent, and in case you're inclined to say so what, sit down and listen to this. I've been a private investigator for some years in the States and recently opened up business in this country of yours. It was just 8 o'clock at night when I slammed the door of my office and felt along the wall for the light switch. For just a moment, I looked out the window and got a panoramic gander at the town I know so much about. Under all that neon and stucco, it still looked cheap and vulgar. Or rich and beautiful, depending on your viewpoint. Right now, it looked cheap and vulgar. I lit the lights. The office was clean, thanks to the gin-drinking caretaker. I went through my mail, a couple of personal things, a bill, that's about all. I was about to go out again when I heard the elevator grunt to a halt on my floor, and light footsteps came towards me, and my door opened. She was the kind of a girl you'd see only in a dream. Tall, dark, and eyes that looked as deep as a quarry pond on a quiet afternoon. This baby was class from head to toe, and from elbow to elbow. She seemed surprised to see me and turned to go. Wait! What's your hurry? Sit down and take it easy. Riding up and down in that elevator is quite an emotional experience. But what is it?
Mr. Kent, would you like to make some money?
Yeah, I'm afraid I would. Money and I have been strangers lately.
And should I employ you, can you furnish references?
Get out your pencil, lady, and start writing them down. Or would you like to take a fast look at my file cabinet? There's 10 years of references in this cabinet.
What are your charges?
£10 a day plus expenses.
I see.
But just what is this job? And, not to be too pressing, who are you?
I'm Laura Shields, Mr. Kent. And I want you to be my bodyguard.
Oh, now, look, if it's just one of those tail around with me and see that the big bad man doesn't hurt mama gags, you could do with a cheaper man. Get some character who's short on brains and long on muscles.
You're talking yourself out of a job, Mr. Kent. Do you want it or don't you?
As the bridegroom said to the minister, I do. Honest, I do.
Oh, that's better. My husband and I are living in our house at Palm Beach. He's John Shields, the company promoter.
I've heard of him.
Could you come down tomorrow?
I guess so. Ought to be down there around 3 or 4.
Oh, fine. Fine, I'll expect you. Here's a check for 2 weeks as a retainer.
Say, you were pretty sure of me, weren't you, Mrs. Shields?
Not at all. You'll notice that I've left the top line vacant.
Oh, yeah, so you have. I'll see you tomorrow, Mrs. Shields. And, by the way, just what am I to guard you against?
Myself.
Guard you against yourself? Suppose we drop the double talk and get down to some straight language.
If you want it, here it is. I'm afraid I'm going to kill my husband.
You don't need a private eye, lady. You need a doctor or the cops. Why don't you go to them?
Well, I couldn't go to the police. You see, I love my husband, but he's been playing around with someone else.
Oh, so it's like that.
Well, I haven't been sleeping well. Recently, I've had dreams. I dream I'm killing him. Now I'm afraid.
Oh, now, don't worry about dreams, Mrs. Shields. They can't hang you for dreaming.
Oh, but they've been getting worse and worse. And do you want the job or don't you?
Sure, it's okay by me. If there's any killing, it's not my funeral.
A very misplaced sense of humor. When you get to Palm Beach tomorrow, register at the Seahorse Inn. There'll be a room waiting for you.
I got to Palm Beach about 3 the next afternoon. It's a typical coast joint. Filling stations, milk bars, hamburger stands, and some kids shivering in their shorts. I asked a question. Where can I find John Shields?
His home's on the main highway, and If you want to see him in person, try the Bluebird coffee shop across the street.
Well, it looked like a pretty fair crib. I walked through the door and had a look around. The jukebox was making like mad. You couldn't miss Shields if you were wearing dark glasses on a foggy night. He was 6'3", wore dungarees, a sweatshirt, and tried to look like a combination of Randolph Scott and Clark Gable. He didn't even come close. But there was something worth looking at. The babe he was gabbing with. She looked the way most Hollywood blondes would give their peroxide to look. And the guy who bought her waitress's uniform certainly had a surveyor's eye. I sat down. I waited. I waited some more. Finally, I got tired of that. Hey, miss.
Yes, sir.
I'll have a coffee, please.
Yes, sir.
I watched her move away. It was better than watching that French mannequin, Dominique. She came back.
That'll be $1, please.
You from here? Doing anything tonight?
That'll be $1, please.
Okay, honey. I'm not only set back on my heels, but my pass has been intercepted.
Thank you, sir.
This was the babe that Shields was nuts about. He hadn't taken his eyes off her during the whole sequence. I drank my coffee and then went away from there. I went down to the road and looked up Mrs. Shields.
Oh, Mr. Kent, I'm sorry I haven't been home, but I had some errands to run and... Oh, come in. Come in.
Thanks.
In here, in the living room, and sit down. Now, will you have something? A drink? A sandwich? A cigar?
No, thanks.
It's almost 7, and John will be home directly. When he comes, please pretend that you're an old friend of mine, and say you met me in Melbourne.
Okay.
And I'll call you Larry, and you must call me Laura. Oh, that'll ease things up a bit. You won't mind being an old friend?
Oh, lady, please.
What have you been doing the last 4 hours?
Oh, nothing much. Looking over Palm Beach. Watching your husband.
John? Oh, was he down at that... with that...
If you mean was he down at the Bluebird with that blonde, you can pick up your darts.
Oh, there are times when I...
Hey, Laura!
Shh, it's John. Remember the time we had all those dances down at the Black Rock?
Well, what's this? Old home week?
Oh, darling, this is an old friend from Melbourne, Larry Kent. Larry, this is my husband, John.
How do you do, Kent? Well, you better get going with the savories and the drinks, Laura. We're having a party.
Oh, darling, again?
Yes, I invited Tulloch of the Surf Club, Judd the Golf Pro, and my dear, dear friend, Bill Jarvis.
Jarvis?
Yes, Kent. You met him this afternoon. He runs the Bluebird. And Phineas will be here, too.
Oh, John, please not Phineas.
Yes, Phineas.
He's the old man who lives in our beach shack down below our house, Larry. John gives him money once in a while, but, oh, he's so dirty. John always teases the poor old thing.
Yes, sir. Old Phineas sure is my meat.
Oh, dear, please not with Larry here.
Why, who cares about him? He's your friend, not mine. Answer that, will you, Laura?
All right.
Hello, Mrs. Shields.
Oh, Mr. Jarvis, come in. And Phineas, how nice to see you.
Well, you certainly look fine, Mrs. Shields. Never saw you looking better.
Yeah, looks as fit as a mud crab.
Larry, this is Phineas Baxter, and this is Bill Jarvis.
Glad to know.
How do you do?
It seems I've seen you. Oh, yes, you were in my place today.
Well, Phineas, how's the beachcombing today? Scraping much away from that old devil's sea?
I do all right, Mr. Shields.
Mr. Shields, now what kind of talk is that? You know, Kent, Phineas is something of a local celebrity here. He's an author.
Oh, John, please.
Yes, sir. He's got something else folks at this beach haven't got. But then who wants it?
You're quite a comic, aren't you, Mr. Shields? Ever thought of going on the stage?
No, Mr. Kent. John Shields is just having a little mite of fun at my expense. I don't mind.
That's right. John always rubs old Phineas.
Forget that, fellas. Just what do you mean by that crack, Kent?
Oh, nothing.
Backing down, eh? How would you like a good punch on the nose?
John, he's our
He's
guest.
your guest, not mine. I watched him making passes in the cafe this afternoon. Now I find him in my house making a pass at my wife. You sure get around, don't you, Kent?
Put your hands down, Shields. You're making a chump of yourself.
Is that so? Then take a look at this! Oh!
Well, if you want it that way, take a look at this.
Oh, John! John! Are you hurt?
Reckon he got on the wrong side of you, mister.
Yeah, reckon he did. Should have known that my wrong side is my right side.
You better trot down to the local drugstore with me, Kent. That eye's breaking out in more colors than a Sunday supplement.
Call me later, Larry. Say in about half an hour.
Jarvis and I trotted down to the local chemist, who turned out to be a pretty good Joe. He'd worked on fighters, and within an hour, my eye looked almost human. When I got through, I walked into the phone booth and called the Shields house.
Everything's under control, Larry.
How is Mr. Shields feeling?
Groggy, I guess. He took the car and went for a ride along the shore.
Want me to come over?
No, I'm all right. Besides, there might be complications. I'll see you tomorrow.
All right. Good night.
Good night, Larry.
Oh, yeah? Who's there?
Police, open up.
All right, all right. Oh, 1 o'clock in the morning. What a time to entertain a flatfoot.
Kent, get dressed.
What for, mister? I just got undressed.
Reverse it, chum. I want you down at the station.
Now, that's a novelty. What for, Inspector?
I want to talk to you about a guy named Shields. Know him?
Yep.
See him today?
Yeah.
He gave you a black eye?
Yeah.
Okay, that's all. Come on.
What for?
I want to talk to you about John Shields. We found him sitting in his car out at Maria Point.
Why, the old rascal. Did he have a cuddly little blonde with him, Inspector?
I didn't see her. He was sitting all alone with a bullet in his temple.
I guess I read too many darn detective stories because I got the idea that all coppers had red faces and big guts. The inspector had neither. He kept me in his office all night, and believe me, he knew all the questions.
So, you're a friend of the family's, eh, Kent?
Yeah. You might say that.
I might say it. But what I want to know is what you might say.
What do you want me to do, Inspector? Break out my Evershop and tell you about my lifetime?
Don't get smart with me, Kent, because we know all about you.
I'm blushing in shame.
Well, if you are, it doesn't show. We know that you never met the Shields anyplace before. Not until the other day when Mrs. Shields went up to the city and hired you.
And, what happened in the second chapter?
We wondered why she hired you.
Pally, you got me. I was hired to come down here and get a shiner from her husband. See it?
Ever seen this before?
32 automatic. Mind if I pick it up?
No.
Oh, this is the baby that did it, huh?
That's it.
Never saw it before. I carry a .38 myself.
I know. We found it when we went through your things.
You boys don't miss a trick, do you?
We can't afford to, Kent. Here, take it back. I presume you got a permit to carry it.
Didn't you find that, too, when you went through my stuff?
Here's something for your book, Sonny. The only fingerprints on the death gun were John Shields. There were powder burns on his temple.
That would make it suicide.
Maybe. Except I remember that appearances aren't always what they seem to be.
Oh, Inspector. You've been cribbing from the copybooks again.
Okay, smart guy. Here's another thing. Don't leave town.
Why, I wouldn't dream of it. I love the quiet air here.
Never mind. Make off now. And tell Mrs. Shields I won't need her anymore either.
Why, is she your guest, too?
Might call it that. Oh, and Kent, keep your nose clean.
Oh, I do, pal. That's why I wear this handkerchief.
Larry, is everything all right?
Yeah, let's get out of here.
Oh, but the inspector, doesn't he...
He doesn't, beautiful. Out.
Does he think it's murder, Larry?
The inspector? He's not sure.
Larry, what do you think?
Did your husband have a lot of enemies?
Oh, more than he had friends. Sometimes I think everybody hated him. I've seen old Phineas so angry he looked positively murderous.
I can imagine. What about that blonde at the saloon?
Oh, John definitely promised me he was through with her. But still... Oh, I'm so confused. Maybe it was suicide after all.
Yeah, maybe it was. See you later, beautiful.
Larry, where are you going?
Calling, where polite ladies wouldn't dream of sticking their noses.
Well, well, if it isn't my black-eyed friend. What's your trouble, Kent?
Nothing.
Too bad about Shields, isn't it?
Yeah.
Never think a guy that husky would bump himself off.
No. Where's the beautiful bit of fluff, Shields' little playmate?
Betty Warner? I fired her.
Where does she live?
I'm not sure, Kent. She moved recently. Why?
Oh, nothing. I just thought she might be looking for a new playmate.
Now listen, Kent, lay off that Warner dame. She's smart. Also, she's tough.
Jarvis was right. The Warner babe was smart. It took me half the morning to get her address. Finally, I located her in a caravan park out of town a ways. I took a cab, pulled up and started to look around.
What do you want, mister?
I'm looking for Betty Warner. What's her number?
No Betty Warner living here, mister.
Well, maybe she's using another name. She's a girl about so tall, blonde hair, and walks like this.
On you, it don't look good. But there's a girl that might be your friend down in Caravan 8.
Thanks, pal.
What might your name be?
It might be Smith.
Yeah, that's what they all say.
I walked past Caravan 8 and round the back. There was a rear entrance, a door with a window. I could look through and see that Warner babe was packing like she had 1 minute to make the train. I opened the door, walked in.
What do you want?
Me? I just want to make with a few words.
If that's what you want, go down the library, get a dictionary. You can make with all the words you like.
But I want to talk to you.
Look, Mr. Kent, I don't like you. I haven't liked you since you walked into the Bluebird and acted up. Now get out of here. I'm busy.
Leaving town?
Oh, no. I'm just packing because I like the feel of leather.
Did you know that John Shields is dead? He was found in his car at Maruya Point with a bullet hole in his head.
No, I couldn't. It couldn't happen to him.
I told her the whole story, and she sat there chewing her lips like she was wearing chocolate instead of lipstick. In spite of the fear and trembling show she put on, she looked as guilty as... Well, she calmed down after a while, and we talked. We had a drink, and we topped that one off with several more. Finally, she promised to hang around town if I promised to keep my mouth shut about where she was. It was a good deal, and pretty soon I went down to old Phineas Baxter's shack on the beach. It was dark, and he lit things up for me.
Sure, I hated him, Sonny. Guess I hated him more than anybody in town.
You're shouting your way right into a murder rap.
You think I did it, do you? Well, supposing I did. Supposing you just proved that little item.
Skip it, Phineas. Why did you hate him?
You know why. You saw the way he treated me last night? Now, Sonny, that ain't nothing compared to what recently happened.
No?
Never knew I backed him when he first got to be one of them company promoters, did you? Never knew that old Phineas had put up the money, did you? Never knew that he never paid me back a single cent?
Shields is, or was, quite a guy.
He was a thief and rat, that's what he was. When I went busted and asked him for my money, he stood there laughing at me. He gave me this old shack to live in and £2 a month for polishing his car.
Never paid off, huh?
John Shields never paid off anybody. And there's something I know about his marriage, too. Hey, what's the matter with the lights?
Where are your fuses?
Right outside the door.
Well, let's see whether one of them blew out or not. Say, it's as dark as Hades out there.
Oh. Hey, Mr. Kent. Mr. Kent, where are you? Hey, what's going on around here? Turn off that flashlight. No, I won't tell. Honest, I won't.
The noise boomed around in my head. Then I opened one eye and sat up in a hurry. I looked for old Phineas and found him. Somebody had used an iron bar on him. He wasn't so nice to look at. I tried to remember what had happened before the lights went out and remembered only one thing, Phineas saying...
There's something I know about his marriage, too.
My gun was gone, but I still had my pencil flashlight. I looked over Phineas's place very carefully, and found what I was looking for. I staggered back down to town and made a long-distance phone call. Then I went on an errand.
Oh, Larry Kent.
What's wrong, baby? You seem surprised to see me.
It's rather late for a visit. Besides, I'm in seclusion.
Yeah, I'm beginning to get the drift of the whole thing. Where is he?
There's no one here. You're drunk, Larry. Look at your head. It's all bloody. I'm going to call the police.
You're not going to call any police. Where is he?
Let go of me.
Let's stop the injured and grieving wife pose, huh, baby? Where's Jarvis?
How do I know where Jarvis is? What are you talking about?
It's a little late, Mrs. Shields. When I looked around Phineas's shack, I found out all about it. I found the old man's scrapbook, or didn't you know he kept one?
Larry, listen. Let me tell you all about it.
Baby, let me tell you. You wanted to get rid of John Shields the worst way, and you hoped to set me up as a fall guy. Or that dame at Jarvis's joint. She could have been a fall guy.
Oh, you're crazy. I could have divorced him.
It doesn't gel, beautiful. You forget the scrapbook. There's a little item in there. It tells about a woman who was paroled from a mental hospital in the custody of a man who married her. A man who wouldn't divorce her because he was in love with her. Yeah, Shields was a louse, all right, but he was in love with you. That's why he was making with a big play for that Warner babe, trying to make you jealous. But you were nuts about Jarvis, who was an ex-con.
I could kill you.
Like you knocked off Shields. When he went for that ride, you were in the back seat. You fed him a Mickey in his last drink, then you took his gun, held it in your handkerchief, and shot him through the temple.
Larry, listen, I didn't do it. It was Jarvis. He did the whole thing. He planned it all by himself. He forced me to help him.
I might have known you'd pull that. Reach, Kent.
I was afraid you weren't going to make it, Jarvis. Or were you in the kitchen all the time?
You're a pretty smart and handy-andy, aren't you, Kent? Just stand where you are.
You were the one who knocked off the old man. You followed me, didn't you?
You're talking, Kent.
And you killed old Phineas when you saw he was going to spill.
I think I'm going to let you have it, Kent.
No, you fool. Someone will hear the shot.
So what? I've got Kent's gun. I'll hold it in a handkerchief like you did to your old man. Then you will find a body, Laura.
Just like that, huh?
Just like that. Oh, Kent, it's been nice knowing you. Like they say in Spanish. Hasta mañana.
Yeah. Hasta mañana. I was watching that trigger finger, and when it started to whiten, I hit the floor, heaved sideways, and gave it to him with my spare gun. His bullet spilled onto the carpet at my feet. I shot him through the heart. Hasta mañana always means until tomorrow. Except there will be no tomorrow for Jarvis. His light was out for keeps. Well, after I turned Laura screaming and kicking over to the inspector down at the station and got myself cleared of any suspicious charges, I got a little sick of the beach and thought I would powder back up to the city, stopping along the way for one or two and listen to a little music, even if it did come from a jukebox. Well, it was more fun listening to those corny pop tunes than you would imagine, because I picked up the blonde Betty Warner and took her along. And you know something? She wasn't nearly as tough as you'd imagine. Good night.